I scored band 9 out of 9 in the speaking module. I just want to focus on the speaking module in this video. People think that getting a 9 out of 9 is just not possible. It is absolutely possible, and I've done it on multiple exams. It literally breaks apart. Hey guys, Sagar here from Alfa Education once again, and this is a video where I'm going to share you my experience in one of the recent exams I took of IELTS, computer delivered IELTS, where I scored band 9 out of 9 in the speaking module. I just want to focus on the speaking module in this video, and I'll do some more videos on the other modules that I did on that same day. Now, for many of the non-native speakers, people think that getting a 9 out of 9 is just not possible. But in reality, it is absolutely possible, and I've done it on multiple exams. So what really is needed to get that big a score? Now, people think it's a fancy level of vocabulary where you use words that even the examiner doesn't know. You construct sentences so long that it literally breaks apart. And many people think that I need to have British or American accent to get a band score of 9. But in reality, that's not the case. Now, my accent is not American, is definitely not British, and it's not even Australian. It's a very typical Southeast Asian accent, I would say, and I've managed to score 9 out of 9. The key is to pronounce the words correctly and make sure that the examiner understands you without putting any effort. I mean to say, the examiner should not be going like this and focus on your speech just to understand what you're saying. It has to be natural, and it has to be at a nice rhythm as well. So that covers the pronunciation part. Just make sure you are absolutely understandable and try to sound native if possible in terms of using contractions. Now, I tell you that I do not want to do this video, that's not how a native speaker would say that sentence, especially in the spoken form. I do not want to do this video. That would be said as, I don't want to do this video. Now remember, I do not want to do this video. I don't want to do this video. So remember the difference. In writing, obviously, you're not allowed to use contractions, so stop even thinking about it. But in speaking, we highly encourage you to use contractions wherever possible. That makes you sound more native and uplifts your score in terms of pronunciation. So that's the number one part. Number 2, fluency and coherence, the second marking criteria. Now, when it comes to fluency and coherence, remember guys, you don't have to be spotless. A couple of hesitations here and there don't really reduce your points. But if the examiner feels that you've taken a pause to remember something or to look for a word, then in those cases, those hesitations or pauses do count against you. So the key is not to be looking for words in the middle of your speech. That gives you a standard fluency, and coherence is your ability to structure your speech using connectives, linking words, and stuff like that. So if you can produce a speech where you can give hierarchy, first of all, secondly, that's very good. If you can join your sentences with something like similarly, likewise, in the similar manner. If you're talking about contradicting things, you could use connectives like on the other hand, on the flip side. So these are the kind of conjunctions, linking words, connectives that help you structure your speech, put them together in a very nice order, and give you a good score in terms of fluency and coherence. So that's the second part. Now, in terms of third part, grammatical range and accuracy, you've got to make sure that you know your tenses. Now, if the examiner asks you something related to the future, you cannot be answering in present tense. So you have to make sure that your tenses are balanced, number one. And number two, your subject-verb agreements make sense. He go, that would be a disaster in the speaking. The examiner will spot it like this. So subject-verb agreements have to balance out. And when you produce longer sentences, try to make sure that you remain as correct as possible. A couple of lapses here and there don't really make a big difference until your sentence doesn't make any sense. If your sentences don't make sense, then don't expect to get good scores. But like in this video itself, if you've noticed, I've done so many run-on sentences. Run-on sentences would be starting a second sentence without properly concluding the first sentence. But in spoken English, it happens a lot because you're trying to express yourself, you're trying to put one idea after the other, and then you do end up producing a few run-on sentences here and there. But that's okay in IELTS speaking. It's absolutely not okay in writing. But in the speaking, since it's a face-to-face conversation, the examiner will understand that you've got strong English abilities, but you do produce a couple of run-on sentences here and there. So that's your grammar, grammatical range and accuracy. And last but not least, they also judge you for your vocabulary. Now, in terms of vocabulary, you guys need to understand that it's called lexical resources in IELTS. And to get a good score in lexical resources, you've got to be able to play with a few things. Number one, style. Adding suffix and prefix to a root word. Separate is not a big word, but if you can use it as separately or separating, those give you better points in terms of IELTS scoring. That's called style, adding prefix or suffix to words. The second thing you got to look out for are collocations. Collocations is a combination of 2 or 3 words that produce a different meaning. So for example, take off would be a very simple example. So let me give you one full sentence with that collocation. Take off doesn't sound that big to you guys, I know that. But if you learn how to use it wisely, you do get very high points. I'd never heard about Alfa IELTS, but one of my colleagues recommended the website to me to practice IELTS, and once I started using Alfa IELTS, my scores just took off. Now, if you understood the context, my scores just took off. It means it surged. Now, for me as an examiner, I would give you more points if you used the collocation took off rather than surged. Because took off, even though are 2 simple words, putting them together nicely gives you a very high score in terms of IELTS speaking. Now, the other thing that you need to keep in mind is idiomatic language. If you can produce a few idiomatic languages here and there, you're definitely going to get a much better score in IELTS speaking. So one of the examples that I still remember from my recent exam is I was asked a question which sounded something like this. Do you think children are more active these days than in the past? And obviously they are not more active, I knew that. So I said that no, children are not active these days, not as active these days than in the past, but I said it in a very different way. So let me give you my answer and then you can evaluate that, all right? So I said, I think it's the other way around. I think it's the other way around. So what does it mean? It means children are less active these days than in the past. So it's not rocket science, it's not something big, it's not that I produced a word that nobody had ever heard of. It's just using simple words at the right time in a very contextual manner. I think it's the other way around. So it meant, I think children are less active these days than in the past. So a couple of other words that I still remember that I used on that particular question, couch potatoes. Most of the kids have become couch potatoes these days, which means they just sit on the couch or sofa and do nothing. No physical activities whatsoever. So guys, the trick towards getting a very high score in IELTS speaking is very simple. You got to understand the marking criteria. You got to start posing as somebody else, be natural, speak confidently, speak at length. Speaking at length is probably the most important thing you need to do to get a high score, because if your answers are short and concise, the examiner really does not have the opportunity to understand how good is your grammar, how good is your vocabulary, how good is your fluency, and how good is your pronunciation. So by speaking at length, you're giving the examiner enough content to judge you. And this is where most of the students go wrong. They feel that they've given the answer, so they don't feel the need to stretch the answer. That's absolutely what you should never do. Because in IELTS, if you think about part 1, the questions are so simple. Do you like holidays? And many students end up just saying, yes, I do. Now that does not give enough content to the examiner to judge you. So this is what you need to understand. You've got to stretch your answers. Say, why do you like holidays? Where have you been recently? Who do you like to go out with for holidays? Either it's your family, your friends. When was the last time you really had a blast when you went out on a holiday? So try to add information so that your answers get stretched and the examiner has the opportunity to judge you. This is absolutely vital. In part 2, where you have to speak for almost 2 minutes, don't keep it short. Keep going. If the examiner lets you speak, it means you still got time. So keep pushing yourself. Whenever I give IELTS speaking exam, guys, the examiner always stops me. He says, all right, thank you, or that's enough. It means you've done a very good job. But if you finish your answers and start nodding your head like this, it means you've not spoken enough. The examiner is not there to listen to your story all day long, trust me. He's got 20 other people lined up who are there for speaking exams just like you. As soon as your time's up, he will tell you, she will tell you. So do not stop until the examiner tells you to stop in part 2. And if you do part 1 and part 2 in a lengthy manner, you will not get a lot of questions in part 3. I still remember in one of my exams, I think back in 2025, early 2025, I just had three or four questions in part 3. It's not because they wanted me out quickly, it's because I had spoken at length in part 1 and part 2. So your exam of IELTS speaking generally lasts for 11 to 14 minutes. So if you give enough content to the examiner in part 1 and part 2, they will not keep you for long in part 3. And guys, in part 3, the questions tend to be longer, and thereby there is a small chance that you might not understand the question. So minimize that risk by speaking at length in part 1 and part 2. I hope you found my experience useful, and if you want to watch more videos like this, make sure you subscribe to our social media handles, and I'll catch up with you guys again very soon. Until then, keep learning, keep using alfaielts.com, and we wish you the very best.